Hello, everyone. Hello. How are you? This is the Story Review podcast with Anita Kingsley, where I get to read to you different kinds of stories. So, we've been reading a series so far. We started from chapter 1, and now today we're going to be reading chapter 10. It's been a very interesting story, actually. Very scary for those of you who have been listening. So, today we'll read chapter 10, and chapter 10 happens to be the final chapter. Yay! So, let's find out what will happen today in the story. And a big shout out to Horace K.McCauley for this amazing story. It's been amazing. I mean, everybody has been commenting that they love the story. So, anyways, let's get right into the story. But before that, if you are new to this channel, the Story Review podcast, kindly subscribe and hit the notification bell so they can get notified when a new story drops because something fresh will be dropping after today. All right, so let's read chapter 10. Once Angie hit the ground, she turned back into the prophet. Joe looked from the lifeless Badia on the floor to the flaming figure that had thrown the trident. It was Tim. He seemed to be on fire, but he wasn't burning. Joe ran to his brother to confirm if he was okay. The flames began to burn out the moment Joe got close enough, and in no time, it was just regular Tim again. That was insane, Joe said impressively while hugging his brother. I don't know how that happened, Joe, but the trident burst into flames when I was in danger, and before I could throw it out at the creature, I too was on fire, but I didn't feel a thing. I think it was some kind of magical spell, Tim said, as both boys burst into laughter. Emily! Both boys chorused loudly, as they remembered they were there to save their little sister in the first place. They ran to the altar, and there Emily was lying on the floor, but she seemed to be unconscious. We need to get her to the hospital, Tim, Joe said. You don't need to do that, Joe. The voice came from behind, and it was familiar, soothing, and calm. Tim and Joe turned around to see Makosh standing there with a proud smile on her face. Look who finally decided to show up, huh? Tim said sarcastically. Take it easy, champ, Makosh said. I've been with you both the whole time. Makosh then handed Joe the vial with water from the lake in it and asked him to pour into Emily's mouth. Once the water got into her system, she sneezed and woke up from her slumber. Everything had happened so fast from the very first moment Joe had seen the prophet in his dream, which led to the death of his best friend, down to the moment he saw her lifeless body. All of the happenings felt like something you read off the pages of a horror-themed book. The boys got back to meet Uncle Ryan in full health, but he could not remember a thing, and this was thanks to Makosh. It had been almost 2 weeks since that very magical night. Mr. and Mrs. Carson were still recuperating slowly at the hospital. The police department was still trying to investigate the death of Eddie and his mother, but Joe and Tim knew for sure it was a ghost trail. Angie's body was never found, as she had turned into the Beta when she died and was taken away by the deities. Makosh and Tico stayed in touch with the boys, and they had access into the world of deities. Joe had gone back to his old hobby. He spent almost all of his free time painting, and he was really good at it. On this very day, Uncle Ryan had come to take the boys and Emily, of course, to the hospital to pick up their parents. Joe had made a painting of his mom and little Makosh by the lake. He made it more beautiful now by adding himself, Tim, Emily, and Dad to it. He was going to present it to both Mom and Dad at the hospital as one of their welcome home presents. He just couldn't wait to see the look on Mom's face when she sees the painting and realizes that Joe has been painting again. They arrived at the hospital a few minutes past 10 a.m. The family was greeted by Debbie, who was already up and agile. Dad was still down, but the doctors had said he was healthy enough to go home with the family. It was all laughter and cheer in the word as the whole family sat together. I have a surprise for you guys, Joe said excitedly, reaching out for the portrait in his backpack. I wonder what it is, Dad said with a big smile on his face. I'm sure it's something wonderful, Mom said, also with a grin. Joe had brought out the portrait and held it at his back. Close your eyes, both of you, Joe instructed. Mr. and Mrs. Carson closed your eyes while chuckling like 6-year-olds. Joe unwrapped the painting and held it up for his parents. You can open them now, Joe said. Joe heard his dad almost scream in admiration as he saw the painting. He turned his gaze to Mom to see the reaction on her face. Her eyes were still closed. She had the same smile on her face, but her eyes remained closed. Joe and his siblings chorused, "Open your eyes, Mom." Debbie did not respond. The family rushed to her and began to shake her, but there was no response. The doctor was called in, and in a few minutes, Debbie was pronounced dead. No! Why? Wow. Debbie died? How? Horace McCauley, I see what you did here. Anyways, that's the end of the story, Two Truths and a Lie. I'd like to see hear your comments and read your comments rather in the comment section. All right, guys. Bye.